Greetings, friends. It's the Soul Material Podcast, the podcast you cheer for, the channel you cheer for. All right, we're here for another episode. So it's T Martin the Street Shark.
And your man, the OGEO.
All right, and we're just going to dive into this one. This is a continuing saga that we want to continue to keep giving you updates for information that we have. But we're talking about Kyrie Irving. All right. But this time we're talking about his partnership with his new brand, ANTA. All right. He's a creative director. So we have a foreign brand that's entering the global marketplace. Like they already exist. The multiple players have had signatures, but now they're just giving Kyrie some extra power behind his creative direction, and then full creative control and all of their ownership of their distribution and vertical for the ANTA brand. So one of the reasons why we're choosing now to have this conversation is because we now know what the Kyrie signature shoe is going to look like. So he's been wearing at least two different models that were made for him. So he has certain colorways that are out there, but we know now what the shoe looks like. He's already worn it. And then Jaylen Brown also wore his signature shoe at the All-Star game this year for 2024 in Indianapolis. So I'll let the OG give you some background knowledge and some information to get our conversation started about Kyrie and the next chapter of his footwear saga with ANTA.
Understood. Shark, I could tell you, man, that I think Kyrie is going to show and prove very, very shortly that you can leave Nike and still be on top of whatever world you want to be a part of because um, he's performing well. We talked about that as far as you being on the court perform well. He's not gotten in any kind of quote unquote trouble or any kind of incidents since he's been with the Dallas Mavericks. And I'm like, yo, when I go to games, playing games, or with me now coaching right now in intramural basketball, I'm going to be honest with you, Sharp. I don't see any J's on the court. I see Curry's, I see KD's, and I see Kyrie's from his time at Nike. And I'm like, it may be one or two old heads like us wearing old retro J's, but that's just the wave right now that I've seen. I'm talking about multiple games. We're now 5-2. So I've coached in 7 games now, and that's what I see on the court from both teams. So with that being said, it's like, let me go and see what's going on the website of ANTA. And it's something odd, at least at this time frame, putting a timestamp on this, being mid-February, close to the end of February, that there's only one shoe on ANTA site, and it's a Kyrie, and they have all sizes. And I'm like, that's odd. And according to Shark, even half sizes. He's a 12 and a half, which is usually kind of difficult for Shark to get. No problem. And I'm saying there's nothing here that's saying a limit. There's nothing up here saying you know it's like it's a freak, but only one item on the site. And I'm saying, is this a marketing strategy? Like this is very, very different than what I'm used to seeing. And I'm gonna pass the Shark because he has more inside info from just me just discovering and seeing this. Myself and him also seeing it as well on the site. Just seeing one product on the site. What's going on here, Shark?
Yeah, so it's an interesting turn of events because when Kyrie first made the announcement with that he was going with ANTA, they also talked about an exclusive deal with Kicks Crew. All right, and Kicks Crew was going to distribute stuff. So if you go back in the episodes, I've actually talked about Kicks Crew. I didn't have a great experience with Kicks Crew. They sent me some very fugazi Yeezys, and I documented in the very beginning of our podcast a couple years ago now. So that being said, I was a little skeptical, but if they were going to, but knowing that that's like based in China and stuff like that, like that made more sense that they were part of that partnership. So I would have assumed that if you're partnering with Kyrie, that is nothing but exclusive shoes and apparel that are going to flow through your network. But I was like, that's just the beginning, right? So moving forward, we know that ANTA has a lot of resources that other brands don't, or not, or necessarily like everything in one place. So they like own most of their vertical, if not all of it, from development to production. So they can just produce stuff so quickly. So if you go back to some of the early images of those first meetings that Kyrie had in that first little pep rally, it's like they had the pep rally and then went back in the room, cast molded his foot, and then had like a 3D model by the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? On how his cushioning could fit with existing models, and then they start, going. So if you've seen the new shoe, you can just look at a Nike model and be like, this is kind of the same silhouette. You know what I mean? And his signature has a strap on it and everything. And Kyrie always had a fold over, lockdown something. So we knew that this was coming. And so now being a foreign brand where you can't buy ANTA shoes just regularly, they're on auxiliary sites, they're on the Kicks Cruise, they're on High Basketball. You're gonna have to go find it where you buy Lee Nings. Are you buying? Hey, sneakerheads, are you buying Lee Nings? You know what I'm saying? And 361, or some of these other auxiliary brands. What is it, Rigonor, that Austin Reeves has? Like those type of brands. That's where you will find ANTA. All right, I don't think you were looking for the Gordon Hayward signature shoe, but it's ANTA. You know what I'm saying? Or you want the DiVincenzo? He got one too. You know what I mean? So, but now Kyrie just has such a big name. You are going to have to put in some work and some money to go find it, because those other sites have these tiers of prices, and it's just based on size. So if you got a small foot, you're going to pay closer to regular price. But as soon as you get to 10 and a half, 11, 11 and a half, 12, it's like add $80, add $100. I'm like, dang, you're like, what the heck? So, and then they will stop at like size 13 or something like that. So I'm like, did you want to make these for basketball players who have big size feet? That being said, to notice that the US ANTA site, just anta.com, that's the site for the US. All right. They have other Philippines and all these other sites and everything like that. So that was a number one sign for me that this is happening quicker than we thought. The fact that they have one product that you can buy and it's distributed throughout the United States, and it's one Pro Wave 5. That's the name of the model. It's the Moon colorway that's on there right now. So you go to anta.com, it'll have the shop now up there, and then you click on it. That's the only product. You go to the product page, and that's the only product you got. So I say that because, I've gotten word that more is coming from ANTA and Kyrie. All right. You will see a national U.S. retailer. It's likely that they are going to pick on the ANTA product. So other brands, you might want to look at this. Okay. And the price point that my ear to the curb says that this is going to be,
Drum roll, please.
it's very comparable to what is under. It's going to be an undercut of what people are paying right now. Let me just say that, right? So, because I don't want to put too much information out there. You know what I'm saying? Because the sources are, I value my sources. So if something that I would stand on today, I'd name the sources. But right now, because conversations are still being had, you might change or whatever. But I just want to say it's probably less than $150. Like significantly less. Like more in the price of a takedown model versus what for a signature. Okay. So if we talked about communities, remember back in the day with the Chris Webbers and a lot of other athletes specifically wanting their shoe to be at a certain price point. Kyrie was like that, but only with Nike, with the fly traps and all those takedown models, because he wanted to have stuff for kids, because he realized that he was the kid athlete. So a lot of kids was wearing his shoe. All
Totally.
right. And then you'll see a lot of NBA players were wearing his shoe.
The takedown
So
models.
he makes good money, for the mid and the low top and those takedown models. If anyone was paying attention, Scotty Barnes of the Toronto Raptors was an all-star this year just because he was a reserve because of injury. I was scratching my head as to why the Nike reps didn't make him wear the all-star pack.
Something.
He was wearing the Kyrie Infinity. If
Yep.
you look in the locker room shots of him lining up his shoes, he only had like one of the new shoes and he had two different old Kyries. And it was just like some GR colors.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And you wearing that in the All-Star game? Clearly, the shoe has to perform well for you to want to do that.
There you go.
And those are the shoes that be on sale.
There you
All
go.
right? So just imagine, we talked about Jaylen Brown wearing a Kyrie shoe in the All-Star game. So that was really cool for him to stand on that business and stand on his relationship with Kyrie because you talked about it earlier, OG, about, since Kyrie left, he hasn't had no incident. Let me remind you what the real incidents were, okay? He didn't go and have domestic violence issues or anything like that. He got chastised for not taking the vaccine when he was in Brooklyn. Have we learned anything that was a little too serious back then?
There you go.
And then two is anti-Semitism, which was something that was taken out of context. We already had episodes about Kanye and his anti-Semitism. I think
Which
his
play?
was more direct.
Mm-hmm.
Kyrie was just more of a, I understand my heritage, so I actually can't be anti-Semitic because I'm the original, and I know it. Like, and he's trying to bring it to light. You know what I'm saying? That
So he's
no,
anti-Semitic for trying to say he's not anti-Semitic. So
yeah, the
that's
original Hebrews and Jewish people look like me. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the big lie. You know what I mean? So how dare he endorse a unofficial movie or something and just make a comment online, and then all of a sudden, because he didn't bend over backwards and apologize, now all of a sudden he's anti-Semitic, he's losing deals, you know what I mean? And then, he has to pick up and go to a whole new location, you know what I'm saying? And then now he's balling, he's somewhat healthy. Man, this dude put on his signature anti shoes for the first time, was out there catching alley-oop dunks. I'm sitting there like, what is in the shoe that make you do that? Because I didn't see that, Kyrie. So the first game on national TV that you wear your signature shoe with Anta, you out here catching oops and leaning with the one hand. Kyrie don't bounce like that. Like what? Something isn't the shoes, you know what I mean? I was like, that's perfect for you to do all of that. That is the soul material recipe.
the poster.
The moment on the court
The first time you
defines
wore
the
him.
shoe.
Yep.
So he did that. He did his part. Now let's get the shoe on the shelf.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And if we're going to have a national retailer that we have talked about that will actually be doing what? Here's a hint. Go back in our episodes. The retailer that's taking Nike away. Them. Okay. They're going to need more stuff, right? Well, if you're in charge of the creative direction and the global marketing and stuff like that, and you want to penetrate the U.S. market, you got a good plan so far. You know what I'm saying? You're going to come in at a lower price point. You're going to have higher premium materials, and it's going to be accessible to people. So, hey, sneaker culture, I'm telling you that you're not going to have but so much resale value because of where you're entering. Okay? So what are you going to do with that? Are you actually going to consume the product, or are you just going to try to buy the first one so you can resell it again? You know what I'm saying? Knowing damn well that they don't have the distribution quality problems that Nike does. They
There you
can
go.
just print more money if they wanted to. They can just print more. They can just produce more or less, whatever they want. So they will actually drive whatever they want to drive as far as exclusive quantities versus mass quantities. All right?
And not
And
only that,
it's for them to control it.
understood. And not only that, Shark, but us being the old school people that we are, product placement is going to be key as well. And we're talking about a demographic now that it's all about not only just the brand itself, but how it performs. And when something's in your face and you just try it out because at a price point that's affordable, and you start to see guys on the court, not only just NBA, not just college, on the playgrounds, intramurals, and so forth, here we go again. Here goes the wave of where things are supposed to be. And it's not Nike and it's not any kind of hype. It's just strategically doing things that should be done, how they should be done. And this is just marvelous. So if I was any other brand, my eyebrow would be raised a little bit because you need to be concerned if you're getting this news a little bit early so you can figure out what's going on the next 8 to 12 months with your strategic plans because Anti and Kyrie are coming.
Yeah. And, just talking about affordability and stuff. So, we love a good order acquisition and some show and tell. So just mixing this into the conversation because here's a Kyrie. This is the Kyrie 5 low or whatever. So, and this was just a generic model, but just putting it up closer because you see the Ross tag on there. You know what I'm saying? And these were showing up in so many different places. These still show up. You will see this on the NBA court right now. You know what I mean? Like this model and then the Kyrie Infinity, which were the last two before he left, like they're still on sale at Sporting Goods, Dick's Sporting Goods, Hibbett's, and then even the Nike site got a couple. It's like they got mad at him. Oh, you're anti-Semitic. We're just going to take it off the website. And then you put it back. You know what I'm saying? Like, what stance did you really have other
Must see
than
the
just
money.
being in the moment? And these are, so, and he always had, different symbols and everything like that represents his heritage and Native American culture, and some of his background that he tapped into his roots. And you see a lot of that crossing over in the ANTA side now. But again, it's still one of the the lower top model, that mid to low, and in the way that he cuts and in the way that the shoe is made for the hard cuts, it's like I see why a lot of guards and forwards love his shoes. You know what I mean? And they will still continue to like it. So my thing is like, hey, Nike, did you watch that part of what I'm talking about Scotty Barnes? Like, you should have him. He should have had a meeting invite right after that. You know what I mean? So that your reps could have a conversation with him about like, hey, dog, like we gonna have to. You ain't Allen Iverson where you get to turn down the shoe we trying to tell you to wear. You know what I'm saying? Because you know about the if I'm mistaken, that was Golden State. The Oakland All-Star game where they
Yep,
tried to make him wear a particular colorway and he was just like, nah. You know what I'm saying? So,
that
but you ain't
match.
that. This your first All-Star. Like, you know, I felt like at least, I should have seen you walking around in the new shoes more than you just gave me what you liked. You know what I mean? And you gave us the GR. Yeah, at least Damian Lillard with his got the customized artists to do it and everything like that. Like put some flames or customize some stuff, man. You know what I'm saying? But you just went out the box GR. You know what I mean? And part of me, I know I'm on Scotty Barnes right now, but I'm just like, I still respect you, dog, just because you a hooper. You clearly look like you just don't care. You just want to get on the court and play. You know what I'm saying? But this is a sneaker podcast, so we just critiquing it at all levels. But yeah, Kyrie, so there's multiple ones that you could go pick up right now. And so would you need to get the full discounts if everything's coming in at a better price point? I feel like that'll open people's mind up to actually like, oh, I'll just buy this, or I won't have to wait, or it's more acceptable, And I just hope that they come in and don't need to rely on social media influencers, but so much, and then just do some grassroots, just for the love of the game, and just see what happens. I think it's going to be interesting on the timing on when it hits the brick and mortar distribution, because I think that's the only other factor that's going to determine it. Because it's just like, because if you do it in the middle of the summer, it's going to be like, it's not basketball season, so I don't know how well that's going to work. Nike, you have a good off-season curriculum where you can release, because you strategically release Kevin Durant's and some other shoes during the summertime, where you don't do that with other athletes in the past. So I feel like Anta, I think you're going to have to be ready for back to school and October next year. But you have everything you need to do it. So first sign is one of these shoes that will cost me $373 in my size 12 and a half on all these other foreign sites. But now I can just go to ANTA.com for the USA site and pay $165. So that's what is happening now. And I just wanted to just put it on wax that it's a coming. The wave is coming. And for those that don't know, Tony Parker used to be under the Peak brand. All right.
Yeah.
So Peak, I think the only person under Peak right now is Andrew Wiggins. All right. Tony Parker's Peak shoe was in the same retailer that I'm talking about. So it's not foreign to them to have the foreign brand show up on their shelves. They'll do it again. And they are. So you know what I'm saying?
Particularly
But
doing these changes, it's only right now compared to even back then.
oh, exactly. So we'll see, but just wanted to make sure that we gave it the time for the discussion. For Kyrie, because we told you in the past that we're going to continue having the conversation. So when it hits the retailers and it gets to the brick and mortar, you'll see another episode from us, and we'll just continue to talk about it. Because we're lining up the whole timeline for these turn of events. And it's amazing how much convenient amnesia you have for what just happened to where it's going. Because it's hard to discover the why if you don't know what just happened. So at the end of the day, we love multiple brands. We're from the era of multiple
Period.
brands and signature shoes. No matter if you're the superstar or like all stars. Not even everyone that was an all star got a shoe last back in the day. You know what I mean? So but if it was okay for everyone to have a shoe, so I think that part is still cool. And let's embrace it. And if you really like sneakers, I'm not talking to you. You know what I mean? I know you already like it. But let's just see, how much ANTA are we gonna see on the feet, in the streets or on the court, at these, AAU games and rec and everything like that. I'd love to see somebody's AAU team get sponsored by ANTA and then see what happens from there too. So that's super grassroots because it's AAU time on the high school basketball circuit. So you just never know. But at the end of the day, plenty of Nike Kyries that are still floating around. But the fact that they see value and to still sell these, the fact that the players are still wearing these, it just lets me know that Kyrie does know something and he understands how to take this feedback and give it to ANTA now, and give a high performing shoe that has quality, is comfortable, and it performs to your needs on the court. And then if it looks good later, then it looks good later off the court. So I think we need to value his level of expertise. And Kyrie grew up in it. Like, why are we acting like he not his godfather, not Rod Strickland? Like you weren't bred for this. So come on.
Yeah. And to close it for me, Shark, really quick, I think it's a good heavyweight bout. We're about to see round 3. Because remember, Kyrie also had, as you mentioned earlier, the kid market on Smash. And then here comes Puma and LaMelo Ball. And I'm telling Puma and LaMelo Ball, strap up because Kyrie is coming with ANTA to get his kid market right back. So we may be having a continuation to this of saying, hey, here comes Kyrie, and he's taking back those markets that he once had a really strong chokehold on. So I'm going to see how all of this goes, man. So let's get ready to rumble.
Yeah, and another callback. Go look at our Ja Morant episodes because it was part of the same lineage. Because we successfully predicted that Ja Morant was going to replace the kid market that Kyrie was. He did. Nike positioned them, but Ja messed up so much for his repeated, situations on social media and outside off the court that he flamed out before it even started, and then he got hurt, and he was, suspended for half of the first beginning of this season, and then he gets hurt, and now he's out for the whole season. So, like, he lost so much momentum where you only had like barely a full season with under your new signature line to get to the kids, and then now it's just like lost in the mix because I'm sitting here like, what colorway is this? His all-star shoe didn't even fit in with the rest of the pack. So it was just like, what are y'all doing? Yeah. So I saw a colorway where I was like, what is this? And then I found out it was Murray State's color, and I was just like, that didn't translate very well. Like, I didn't even know that was his college color.
There
Like,
you go.
where's your story? Your storytelling got so lost because Ja wasn't available on the court to give you those signature moments that you don't have the storylines to back it up 100%. So we'll see. Are we going to get a Ja 2, or is he going to rock the first ones? You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, there was a big correlation to that timeline. So go back to those episodes. So yeah, just wanted to end on a couple callbacks so where to go back and listen again. So John Morant, some Yeezy, some business, morals, optics, all of those things are episodes that you can go back into. So I think that's a good place to wrap up for this episode. Just continuing the saga of Kyrie Irving. And this time the next chapter is with ANTA. All right. So let's see where this goes. So until next time, it's T Mark the Street Shark signing off.
And the OGEO. Till next time, peace to you.
Sneaker business talk.